I wanted to talk about backpacks. However, that is a very big topic because there's a lot to do, so this is going to be in multiple videos. But the first thing I want to talk about is the different types of backpacks. First of all, you notice I'm not in my gear room, and that is because I like to hang my backpacks just because for me it's easier to get them and I don't have anywhere to hang them downstairs. So the big types of backpacks you're going to have are your day packs and your backpacking packs. And day packs can be a lot of sizes. We've got like this really little one, which is for a really short hike. It does have a place for a small hydration pack, a little bit of food. These are often used by joggers, trail runners. I'll use this if I'm going on like a 3 or 4 mile quick hike. This is a standard day pack by Osprey. You'll see I have a lot of Ospreys. I just happen to really like that brand. These specifically are made to fit onto the backpacks as a day pack so that you have 1, extra storage if you're backpacking, and 2, you can take it off if you're going to base camp and take this up to a summit. They've got pretty good sizes. This is called a Daylight. There's plenty of pockets. This is a similar size day pack. This one's a little bit bigger. This is by Platypus. Came with the hydration pack. This one is also more for a day hike. The ones up from here are for backpacking. I actually use this as a 46 liter, by Osprey. It's meant as a backpack. I actually use it as a day pack more often than a backpack because it's very comfortable to me and it keeps me used to wearing these packs. This is the smallest size I've ever been able to get into for a backpack. I cannot fit my gear that I need for an overnight in anything smaller than a 46. A lot of people can. I'm not one of them. This is also by Osprey. This is a different brand. It's got a different type of suspension system and it's larger. This is a 65 liter. This is what I pretty much use every time I go backpacking. It's got a lot of great features that we'll get into in another video because I think the features of your backpack get missed a lot of times. You don't realize what's there until you've owned it for a while. This is the one I'm going to use to show you how to fit a backpack because I think the fit is the biggest thing you want to talk about today. And then this is a giant backpack. This is an 80 liter backpack. It's what they call a 70-10. The backpack itself is 70 and then it's got this additional top piece you can take off that holds another 10 liters. So it holds up to 80 liters. I don't actually like the way this pack feels. It was extremely inexpensive, but I keep it for if I have friends or people that want to go out backpacking and don't have gear. It can adjust enough to most people's size. So that's why I keep this one around. So fit. Number one, when you're going to buy a backpack, again, like I always say with any gear, if you've not bought one before, I recommend you go somewhere like REI or Olympia or one of the other sporting goods stores that will help you fit it because you really do need to get a good fit. If you're going to purchase it online, if you see a brand, go to the brand's website first. Almost every brand has a place on their website that tells you how to fit it and it will tell you what measurements to take. Most of them want you to measure from the back of your neck down to the bottom of your spine for the measurement in length, and then you need to measure also around your hips. There's a lot of fit that goes into everything from the width of your shoulder pads that you need. Some packs are meant more for the way a woman is built versus the way a man is built. So there's a lot of things to take into consideration. I just want to pull this one together because you want to fit them when they're good and closed up. And this one, I used this recently, so it's not. So the big things that you want to look at is, the first is length. This is a Osprey, so it has an anti-gravity system in the back. This back piece actually expands to a certain extent. You still want to measure it and get the right size, because just because it's a medium doesn't mean that you can expand it up to the size of a large. It just gives you a little bit more leeway in it. There are these pressure points on either side, and I can move this entire shoulder piece up and down the length of the back. So when I'm going to fit my pack, the first thing I do is I make sure every single one of the strap points is all the way out, because it gives me the ability to make sure that when I pull everything in, it's even all the way around. So this is my hip belt. I'm going to pull these all the way out. and extend them all the way out. And I'm going to extend out my shoulder pieces all the way to the end on each side. And I extend out the shoulder, ignore my hanging system, my shoulder strap at the very top. These come all the way out. So when you have a backpack on, you want all the weight on bone, not on muscle, because your muscle can't handle that much weight over a long period of time. Typically, they say the average person carries about 25% of their body weight on a backpacking trip of 3 to 5 days. I pretty standardly carry about that much. A lot of people like to go really, really light. There's whole schools of people that go ultra light. I am not one of them. I tend to carry about 35 pounds no matter how long I'm going out. It's just, if it's a shorter trip, I just tend to carry more. It's just the way I am. So when you fit these, this hip belt needs to go at the top of your iliac crest, which is the very top of your hip bone here. Don't assume where your hip bone is, actually find it. I'm very short-waisted, so my ribs are right on top of my hips. So this is the top of my hip bone. And in order to get these placed right, because I've stretched everything out, and of course, if you can put weight in them, and if you go to a place like REI, they'll put weight in it for you to test it. I will lean all the way forward so that I know that I'm getting this in the right place before I do anything else. And it holds the weight of the pack, so I can get this where it needs to be, and then pull both sides. You want this middle piece to be in the middle. So that's the first thing I do, is get it on my hips in the right place. And then tighten down these shoulders just enough that it's not gonna fall. And you'll see, pull that in a little bit more. I'm gonna keep adjusting that until it feels right. This obviously too loose, but you do wanna be able to move your shoulders. So I tend to pull this until I get it to where it pulls the pack against my back. You should feel it all the way down the length of your back, but it shouldn't be pulling you back. It shouldn't be forcing your shoulders at all. It shouldn't be so tight that you can't move your shoulders around. A majority of issues come from people putting all the weight on their shoulders, not into their hips. All the weight should be in your hips. So as you can see, I can move my shoulders around under here, and the pack's not moving. The last thing I do is grab these. They're not always that easy to grab. I've lost this one. And pull them till the pack feels right. And the amount of weight you have in the pack will determine where you pull these to. The heavier the pack, the more you're going to want to pull it in, because you want the weight up against your back. But we'll get into how to pack a pack and how to distribute the weight properly later. The biggest way to test whether or not something is fit well, and Chris, you want to pull this across. This, by the way, is not, this strap across the front is not to hold the pack to your body. It's literally just to keep it from falling backwards. You should not have a lot of tension in here. It's just comfort. You don't want it to pull these in. You don't want to, as you can see, that's going to be painful over time. But I can move my pack. I can move my shoulders. All the weight's here. If you had a heavy pack and I was to jump up and down, the whole pack would move as one whole, and I would feel the weight here. It's not going to land here. If when you jump up and down, the pack is hitting here, you need either a longer pack, or you need to adjust the straps if it has the ability to adjust up and down. So that's how it should fit. It should sit right on your hip bones. You should have room here. It should be against your back, but not pulling you backwards. And then you would adjust these to your comfort level based on the weight that's in your pack.